Okay. Hi, Amy. Um,
Hi, how are you, Debbie?
Good, thanks. So I wanted to talk to you today about all the roles you played for CWA, Cat Writers Association. Ah, there he is. Karma,
Yeah,
hi.
yeah, he has to get his close up in. So,
Oh, hello, Karma.
okay, now you've got to go because I'm trying to do some work. Okay, can you go sit
Harry
in
and
the
Hermione might be here later.
kitchen?
Harry's
Okay.
in the kitchen eating right now. All right. So, you've done so many different things, played so many roles in the Cat Writers Association, and of course, you were one of the founders
Right.
and a president for a lot of years.
Twice. Yes.
What is that? I'm sorry.
Yes, twice. I came back and was president a second
Oh,
time for a year.
okay. Well,
So,
oh,
yeah.
that's interesting. But I know you were president a long time. Can you share with me the story of how CWA began? How and when did the idea for the organization come about?
Oh, therein lies a tale.
Mhm.
I've been a longtime member of the Dog Writers Association and uh, had always lamented the fact that there was not an equal, wonderful organization for cat writers because at the time I was doing a lot more writing about cats than I was about dogs.
Mhm.
And so I presented the idea to some of the editors that I had been working with. Debbie Phillips Donaldson and Kate Segner at Cat Fancy magazine, um, uh, Michael Brim, who was not an editor but had done a lot of PR at Cats magazine. And we decided, well, this the time has come. Dog Writers have been around for 70 years at this point, and
Wow.
this was in 1992, and there was nothing for cat writers. And so we made arrangements to meet up because there was going to be a big CFA International Cat Show in Fort Worth, which was just a couple of hours from me,
Uh-huh.
and they were all going to be there. So we planned to go and discuss it. I put together a lot of notes. They did too. We had a wonderful meeting, and that evening at the Cat Fanciers Association Awards banquet, Michael got up, God bless his heart, and made an announcement that we had formed this organization. And I was like, don't tell anyone yet. Oh
Oh.
my gosh, we don't have anything in place. So
Mhm.
um, as a result, there was a lot of interest generated. Uh, at the time, I had said, I'm happy to work for this. I think this is a great idea. I will do anything except treasurer. You don't want me handling money. And so, quick like a bunny, Michael said, I'll do vice president and help with the PR. And um, Debbie said, I'll do secretary. And Suzanne Stowe, who at that time was circulation manager at Cat Fancy, said she'd do treasurer, and that left me with president. So it was by default. It wasn't
Oh.
that, you know, and it kind of blossomed from
Mhm.
there. We put together a list of people, kind of movers and shakers in the cat writing, actually the pet writing realm, and invited them to be uh, kind of our first council of directors, an advisory committee. Mordecai Siegel was part of that. Dr. Jim Humphreys was part of that.
Mhm.
Tom Korn, who was at that time, I think he was editor of Cat World
Mm.
magazine. There were a lot of these magazines that really are no longer around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we had all these people. We sent out press releases. We got it published in Writer's Digest magazine, in
Wow.
Cat Fancy, Cats magazine. All had all of these people wanting to be members.
Mhm.
And so all of this happened. Our meeting happened in November of 1992, and by the following summer, we had about 34 people that had joined, had paid
Right.
um, their admission, which was, I
There.
think,
Mhm.
$15, something like that, $15. And by that fall, we had another 30 or so people. So I think
Wow.
we ended up with around 65 or so charter members and founding members
Mhm.
in this
Yeah.
budding organization. So it took
Wonderful.
us a while to get up and running,
Sure.
but
Um, yeah.
Michael Brim was very, very important in that because he had kind of the resources of the Cat Fanciers Association behind him. The people at Cat Fancy Magazine, at Cats Magazine, these were all kind of the big movers and shakers of the day. So it wasn't just me, it was a really huge team effort.
Wow, that's excellent. I think that when I joined, I had been writing articles. It was 96. I had been writing articles, but I hadn't been sending them anywhere. I was writing and writing. I'd been writing a long time, never sending my stuff out. And I was so excited when I heard about cat writers. I got to tell you, I said, this is the group for me.
Yes.
Because I love cats. I had Floppy and Holly back then.
I remember Floppy, yes.
Yeah.
And his diabetes journey, yeah.
My little diabetic guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a special cat. I had him as a kitten, and we had him 15 wonderful years. But, he's on Rainbow Bridge now.
Yeah.
But, and so is Holly. But I was writing about them. I was writing different things about what they did, how I got the two of them. Holly was a feral, and how I domesticated her. And when I heard about cat writers, I said, well, I love cats and I'm writing about them. And it gave me the push.
Yes.
I wanted to be a member, and I wanted to be, I think at that time you had to have 2 published articles. I'm not sure if it's the same today, but I want, so I sent my stuff in, and I had articles in Cat Fancy. I started sending more and more articles in. I had a Cats Magazine, Tufts, it was different publications.
Cat Talk. Mm-hmm.
And and then I had a short story. Then because I prefer fiction, but I was an editor in my school paper, so I did know how to write articles. But I wrote a short story, and it was in an anthology with Carol Nelson Douglas, who I loved, her Midnight Louie series. And Cat Crimes Through Time, and that was Ed Goldberg. When he was alive, but I had them at the library. I was working at the library. Then I had all these cat anthologies, and then I got one of my stories in it. So I was so excited. But
your story is not unusual. There were a lot of people that applied for membership. At that time, it was 2 articles published. If they had been professionally published for payment, then you were a professional member, and otherwise it was an associate member. It may have been just 1 for associate members, but there were a lot of people who are very well known and award-winning writers today who came in as associates, and that gave them the push to work harder and harder. Sandra Tony is one. I met a lot of people through cat writers. Wendy Christensen was one of our she was one of our charter members. And we were both writing for Cat Fancy magazine at the time, and I loved her stuff. So, you meet a lot of people, and I think not only the camaraderie, but also the contest, because people are very interested in getting some recognition there also. It pushes us to go beyond, to go a little bit beyond that, because there are a lot of contests out there for unpublished work. In fact, I'm going to be judging some later on that another organization I belong to, and the judges give feedback. But for cat writers, we wanted it to be honoring published work. We figured everybody, if it's published, you're already a winner. You're already a winner. So it's like judging the best of the best.
Right.
And it's wonderful to see how far the organization has grown and has come, kind of new directions here and there. We've expanded, we've reevaluated. It's like cats. You have to adapt.
That's so true. And I believe I've been a judge almost every year. I haven't submitted every year because there was a period when my daughter was young. I really wasn't doing a lot of writing. But I've been a judge almost every year. And I found that, and I attended a few of the conferences. I attended the 25th anniversary. And that was wonderful. And I found that, meeting other authors who have an interest in cats, right there, there's something. When you go to writing conferences, you meet other authors who, we all share that experience of, submitting work, getting rejected, and then getting published. And, we share that. But when you're also a cat writer, that's you have the interest in cats almost all of the members have cats or have had cats. So there's an interest right there. We all show each other pictures. I love the conferences where you wear the cat ears and you can dress up in your cat clothes. Because I used to be a really big collector of cat items. I just ran out of room, but I still have a collection of cat books.
Yeah.
I won't give the, even though, I'm a librarian, I can get them out of the library. Yeah, and I have them, now I have them on my Kindle too. So, but I used to collect cat items. I mean, I still have a lot of them that I have to find room for. But, all right, so getting back to the interview, during the years you were president, and tell me about the different years you said you were president twice. What did you feel was your most important contribution?
Oh gosh.
Well,
I guess
what years were you president again?
I
From
was
the
president the
beginning.
first 9 years. So it was a 9-year term.
Okay.
And I retired probably, well, for two reasons. Number one, my husband wanted to see more of me. It was becoming, I mean, when I first started, I was still working a quote, real job outside. And then um, uh, I finally left working outside of the home and was doing it full time. But cat riders became almost a full time job, and it's as any of the presidents who followed me will tell you, it can be just overwhelming and all consuming. And I really needed kind of a break from that. And second of all, cat riders needed a break from me. It couldn't be the Amy show. It could not be Amy's Cat Riders. It had to be the Cat Riders Association for everybody. And so other people needed to come in. And as long as I was president, it was like, oh, Amy will do this. Oh, Amy knows how to do this, that kind of thing.
Right.
And I'm happy to do that. But cat riders needed to take that next adult paw step away from kittenhood. We'd gone through the kitten phase into the adolescent phase, and it was time for cat riders to become the adult cat and to move on. And so
how long were
karma just-
you? I'm sorry. How long were you away? And oh, there he is. I wish my boy would make an appearance. He's around here somewhere.
Well, he thinks I'm talking to him.
Oh.
Yeah, is that right?
So when did you come back then for the second time, and why did you come back the second time?
Okay, well, we had a number of presidents along the way who were wonderful. Kim Thornton followed me. And there were, I think it was Nancy Peterson was president for, I think, 4 years. And that was during a time when there was a lot of changes going on. There were some controversies that had happened. And at that point, I believe there wasn't, I think it was right after Nancy that it came back, that we needed to kind of level things out and take a year kind of a breather, because it's difficult to find someone who will agree to be president. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, I believe the nominating committee had looked and they had not found someone. And I said, okay, I will come back in for a year, and let's have somebody in training to follow me, and they will take over the year after. And we did that. I think that was the year we went to White Plains and had some wonderful times there with the Tika show. We partnered with the Tika show. There's always little things that'll happen. And when you have people who love cats, people that are passionate about what they believe is right and true, sometimes there will be disagreements. And it's that's, you can either let things dissolve or you can grow from it. And Cat Riders has been very fortunate in that the things that we have gone through have made us stronger. I had some situations when I was president the first 9 years where people were not happy with me at all. And we got through that, we got past that. So you have to just be willing to, take the good with the bad and say, own it. I made a mistake, or, you made a mistake, or we made a mistake, but we're going to fix this and do this together. So that's kind of where we're at.
Can you describe something that you feel might have been one of your biggest accomplishments during the time you were president, either the beginning or the second time, just all together? Was there something that stands
Oh.
out that you felt was a big accomplishment for cat writers?
Um,
I don't want to put you on the
probably
spot, but
probably the biggest was
Mhm,
the launching of the contest,
mhm.
because that has launched careers,
When did that
literally.
start? That didn't
Um,
start right away.
no, no. In fact, we didn't have a conference right away because
Mm,
we were still
right.
building our treasury. We were trying to figure out what we were going to do. We were patterning a lot of things after Dog Writers Association,
Mhm,
and they did not have a conference. At that time, I was also a member of the Oklahoma Writers Federation conference, and I love them. I got my agent there. We're no longer together, but I
mhm,
still adore her. And so my idea was to pattern our conference like theirs, but have a contest like Dog Riders. And so, kind of putting that together, that concept together,
mhm.
I feel really very pleased that has kind of stood the test of time along the way. And I've been
So,
very proud of that. And I've been very proud of the speakers that we've been able to bring in, some real movers and shakers in the cat world,
mhm,
whether they're writers themselves. We've had some, very well-known writers as not only as members, but as speakers. And people on the health front and on the
mhm.
behavior front, Dr. Niels Peterson, Jim Richards, a lot of really
Right.
wonderful movers and
Mhm,
shakers, and I feel very proud of that. I think part of my role early on as president was getting sponsorships,
mhm.
and finding um, some monetary support for these programs, so cat writers, the members themselves, didn't have to fund a
Yeah.
huge expense. So
Mm.
there's so many different little things along the way, but I'm very proud really that CWA is still here. I mean, there's so many of
You're
the
coming up on 30
small,
years,
yeah, the
I
small,
think, right?
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, the
in
fact that we lasted
2022.
this long, oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
mean, we're into our third
Mhm,
cat life, so this is
mhm.
wonderful. We've got many more to go.
So the contest and the conference started the same year then?
They
Uh,
start the same year. So we were
mhm,
formed in November of 92. I believe our first conference and contest was 94. So
mhm.
it was
Great.
about a year, and that was in Atlanta. And that was a challenge because Karen Cummings, she's no longer a member, but she was our conference chair, and
Uh-huh.
she had arranged everything. We were going to have it with the CFA Cat Show again in Atlanta, and then the hotel canceled the contract.
Ah,
She had already planned everything, and this was
oh my
like
God.
2 or 3 weeks away. They
Wow.
canceled everything. We had no
Ah,
hotel, and Karen called me just nearly. I mean, she was so frazzled and so upset. She said,
what a
"Amy, I can't
shame.
do it again. I can't do it again." And so that first conference I put together a second time, we just moved everything to a new hotel venue.
Oh boy.
It was a
Yeah.
big challenge, and I
Baptism
think
by
we
fire.
oh I think we had
Oh,
I think we had 4 or 5 speakers
wow.
was all, and I think we had maybe 25, 30 people came.
That's good
We had a keynote
for the first
speaker,
one. Sure.
Dr. Jim Humphreys was a keynote
Mhm,
speaker. So
mhm.
Atlanta, we've been in Atlanta a couple times. It's a wonderful venue, wonderful
Right.
city. But I will always remember that I told people this is another reason that I had to step down as president. About about 2.5 months before the conference, I would always start to get a little nervous tick right here. And it wouldn't go away until after the conference
Oh,
was over. And I
that's
thought,
funny.
okay, I'm getting to the point. I need to
Yeah.
calm.
Okay, so but how did establishing the cat writers, or at the very beginning, how did that affect your writing career and your personal life?
Ah,
I mean, I know there's probably a lot, but what would you
yeah, it's yeah for me and this, and I would encourage anybody to look into serving on the cat writers board as an officer or as a council member,
uh-huh,
because it puts you in touch with the movers and shakers. Um, I because I was helping bring in speakers, I got book contracts from it. I got speaking engagements because I was the go-to cat writers person, probably long before I deserved a lot of that. You learn as you go.
Mhm.
I had a book proposal that I had been trying to market, and an agent who I ended up not going with, but had the idea, you need to contact one of these big name pet companies and get them to put their name on it. I thought, okay, well, the only one that I really knew, because I was working with them for cat writers, was Purina. And so over a period, it took about 2 to 3 years to get permission to put Purina's name on 2 of my books, the Purina Encyclopedia of Cat Care, and then one of dog care. That never would have happened without me being involved in cat writers and knowing the people to talk to there. Those books are long out of print, but that was a huge deal for that was the big books that my agent took me on for and sold very well. I have never gotten as large an advance since. I mean, it was like I started at the top and went down, but that really made my career, you know. So
So
there
being
are some
involved,
really important
right.
things that when you belong, not just cat writers, any writers organization, if you are involved in
true.
volunteering,
Right.
it's the connections that you
The
make.
networking.
The
Yes.
networking.
Yes.
I mean, similarly, I'm a member of International Thriller Writers, as I
So am
believe
I.
you are
Yes.
too.
Mhm.
And I met the editor and the publisher who published my first thriller. And because I was there, I also knew best-selling authors and put on my big girl panties and actually sent an email and asked. And I got a wonderful cover quote from James Rollins for my first thriller. And he's a best-selling author. He's
Very
also a
nice.
veterinarian.
Yes.
So
That's great.
knowing these people, you know, making those connections. And many of us as writers, we're very private, we're very kind of introspective. We sit here with our cats on our lap and type and everything, but you have to get out of yourself sometimes.
Right.
And everybody wants you to succeed. You know,
Mhm.
that's another thing I love about cat writers, just taking a breath here, is that we're not in competition with each other. Yes, we have a contest, but we still cheer each other on. And what a lot of my colleagues say, and I truly believe this, is you know, the raising the water, it raises all the boats. So you want everybody to succeed. We want more books, we want more articles about cats out there.
You
That's
can't
going
get
to
enough
really,
of cat. You can't get
right,
enough
and
of cats.
it's going to help.
Whether
It's
it's
going to help
photos or stories or whatever.
exactly poetry, songs, whatever.
Right.
It's
Because
going to get good
PWA
information.
supports, right, all the media, which is
Good
great.
information about cats, and because there's good information out there, that tells people, hey, I want to go buy those books and and that helps all of us.
Right, definitely. So, what do you see as the future of cat writers, and what are your hopes for the association now that you're not really involved, but you're still involved? You'll never not be involved, Amy.
Well, I finally
your baby.
stepped down.
It's
I
coming
finally
up.
stepped down from. They had made me a director for life, and I finally said, no, that's enough. And I'm there a phone call away, email away from anybody who's a member of Cat Writers.
And you've been very helpful with the history project that we're working on.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
You know, I am very much concentrating on my own work and new works right now, and so I don't have the time to be as involved as I was. But you know, if I can help anybody else out with, you know, maybe a cover quote or some quick advice, something like that, I'm happy to help. And you know, as far as the future of cat writers, we've got a new team, very energetic with a lot of great ideas.
Yes,
and
Paul is great.
Incorporating
one of the members.
Yeah, I think they're going to be incorporating what's worked in the past, or I hope they will what's worked well in the past, and tweaking it and moving it on into the future, because I want this organization to survive. And with the pandemic that we're in the second year of right now, as we're recording this, you know, the future may be more virtual access like what we're doing right now. I mean, I've been doing a lot of on-demand webinars, which
Yes,
is
so about
something that that way you save the cost of the hotel and the travel, and more people can
that's
be
true.
involved.
There's
So
pluses
that
and
may be,
minuses, right?
you know, and that may be
But
something that in the future can be kind of a hybrid
yeah,
instead
kind
of just
of
being,
right. A
yeah,
lot of
you know,
places are
have
doing
some
that.
options there. So I, you know, that's my hope. My hope is that um, Cat Writers continues to thrive and to help writers write about cats or produce information about cats, whatever that may be. I mean, when I started, it was print books only. And that
Right,
was really hard. And it was published with New York. And now it's self-publishing.
right,
But
everywhere.
you know, if you're
Mhm,
self-publishing, that doesn't mean that you are any less than
mhm.
any other book, but just be aware if you enter the contest, you are judged alongside New York published books.
Right,
So it's
true.
you don't get any breaks cut
Uh-huh.
because you did it yourself. Um,
Exactly.
you may get some accolades when you win because you did it yourself, but you have to do all of the hard work there.
Mhm.
Still, there are no shortcuts.
Right.
And I I hope that future, that as cat writers continues to be nimble and change along the
Mhm,
way, that we continue to mentor each other and lift each other up, all of our successes. And
mhm.
hopefully we've got another 25, 30 years to go. I won't
Yeah.
be around, except
Oh,
I'll be a
Amy,
rainbow bridge with all
you'll
of
be with all
my
your
my
kitties.
furries. Right, right.
Probably me too, Amy, but we'll all be there. But I think CWA is going to be around for a long time, and I think it's a great group, and we're getting new members all the time. And
We are, and I will tell you,
right.
you know, since I remember the controversy, and this was a huge controversy and big fight, infighting, and all kinds of things about having an email list,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know. And when I first started writing, I didn't even have email because my husband said, no, that is for computer people. I use it at work, but we can't have it at home. Well, now I do almost all my online
I
stuff.
know it's
And
amazing.
now that,
Yeah.
you know, cat writers just moved to the new IO group. I think
Hmm.
that's what it's called.
Yes, the I
And
group.
it's suddenly revitalized. People are
Yeah, people
conversing again.
adapt, and
It's
they.
wonderful. It's wonderful. So new things just kind of spark interest. And,
Yep.
you know, some of us old cats may not be on board with everything. And that's
Senior
okay.
cats.
That's okay. You know, we're a little bit crotchety. We need our sun puddles, and we'll go sulk
Oh, and
somewhere else. But
right,
then
right.
we're going to watch and join the fun.
Yep. That's great, Amy. So thank you so much for all these insights into your role in Cat Writers and the group itself. This has been wonderful. And
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, Deb, and thank
very,
you for kind of spearheading this group for history. I think history is important. Let's look back at the past and take what works and move forward with it.
definitely.